So I wrote the song Forever 21 that I'm now releasing. I wrote it 8 years ago. I produced it 8 years ago. And that seems like kind of fucking crazy. Why would I wait so long to release a song that I actually care about so much? I just didn't feel like it was time. And I wanted to have more accomplished in my career before I launched a song that meant so much to me, which they call that creative stifle, like to hold it back instead of opening it up. And so that's part of my plan, my journey, my commitment is to just not wait so long for the perfect storm, for the right everything, for all the circumstances to be like, it has to be all ready and right to do the thing. And I know as artists, whatever, if you have any creative outlet, whether you're an artist or you're a musician or anything that's artistic, I know when something feels really special to us, it can feel vulnerable to share it, especially when we want it to be appreciated. We want it to live its best life. And so 8 years of waiting is over, and now I am so excited to be sharing the song Forever 21. And no, I am not 21. The song is not about being 21. It's actually about finding places within your life, the nooks and crannies of you that might start to get heavy and age and have really dense belief systems, and you just architect this part of you that is so structured in who you are that you lose sense with the youth of play and the unknowing and the charisma of just being, even like frolicking in a field, acting ridiculous, being silly, being childlike. That's really what the song is about. And time again, I have had so many challenges, crazy health challenges that so many of you watching this probably wouldn't even believe. When I was heavier, when I looked older 9 years ago, and when I have hit some rock bottoms in my life, I've had to make huge, serious, important commitments and choice points to shift out of it through my mindset, through whatever was happening in my physical state. But a lot of it is belief systems. Like, what do you believe? And age is this really interesting concept where it's almost, especially for women, if you relate to this, please share, but especially for women, there's this story or this imprint that like the older you get after 22, it's like the less wanted or the less beautiful you are. And this is such a taboo topic, I feel. But it's actually really common to almost like there's a time when you're no longer desirable. And I think that women deserve to feel beautiful, radiant, young at heart, vibrant at any given age. And I've seen certain people around me get older, and then the reason why they would stop taking care of their bodies, or they forget about their health, or their mindset around who they're meant to be got so dense and unchangeable that I'm like, wow, I don't want to be that kind of woman. And what's interesting is it's been only until recently that I could even identify with calling myself a woman. I've seen myself as a girl most of my life, and I realized part of being that mindset was because I felt and believed that being a woman meant that I was like, I would just I would get older and I would age and I'd be less desirable and I'd be less fun, I'd be less pretty, and it's all about business, and then you're having children, and then life gets hard and life gets harder and harder. And maybe because of how I grew up, what I witnessed, when I saw what I started to see women say, what I started to see other people say around age, as if getting older meant you're more decrepit, that you're less valuable. Unless you are a businessman and you have made it and you're making more money, then almost like there's some separation between the maturity of our beingness as a woman, which I'm kind of speaking on behalf of women right now, which men are included in this. But there's something really negative and derogatory about getting older, especially when it comes to beauty and desirability. And what the song Forever 21 is about is connecting and painting a picture to the youth of love. And part of the verses is about adventuring with a backpack on and experiencing a simple life, like adventuring without so many things to figure out, just the simple life of like, ooh, what would it be like to go there? and eating homemade ice cream. And really what it's about is like that simplicity of when you're young, it's almost like there's less you worry about. There's less you have to figure out. And I was revering in the simplicity of what could love and romance feel like if it was just a bit more simple in the mind. And in the chorus, I'm speaking about being forever 21 and forever young. And like I said, I'm not 21. And this is not about being 21. It's about connecting to the timelessness of your heart. And really, this is an inquiry that I'm curious about. If you can resonate, if you identify, or if this is a new concept, that part of how we age as humans has more to do with the vitality and the openness and the evolution of our spirit than just what age is supposed to look like. And I think certain people are starting to reverse engineer what it is to age, and that's been a part of what the song is about. And what I have been consistently choosing to believe is, what if I don't look like I'm old at 40? What if I don't look or feel like I'm old at 50? What can it look like to still have so much vitality in my energy, and choose that by my belief, not just because everyone's like, oh, well, when you're 50, you're like that, and you might look like that, and like all the negative. What if I can just like let go of all the stories and choose to shake off all the imprints of what age is supposed to mean, especially in the derogatory sense as being a woman? And how could it amplify the magic of our wisdom and the beauty of our hearts? And what if we discovered that we're more free to believe in the moments and the magic in ourselves that actually imprint how we age? So in my own desire to reverse engineer aging from a psychological standpoint, I've decided, and I keep deciding, that part of why I look young and why I believe that we can continue to choose youth in our beings is because of our hearts, and the way that our hearts speak to our mind, and the way that our body responds based off of the messages that we're giving ourselves. Now, there's some people I've seen that I graduated high school with, and I see some photos and I'm like, I look like a child, like next to this person. Like, they're bald, and I'm not saying anything negative about anyone aging. It's just that I have seen someone's physical structure with the same biological age look completely different. And I think for me, it has a lot to do with choosing, especially because I've been through some seriously painful stuff in my life. Serious heartbreak, serious breakdown, serious physical health, serious financial struggle, seriously staying in a tent outside my brother's house. Done that more than once at my godfather's house. Having serious struggles that a lot of people could probably relate to, but instead of staying in the pit of despair, somehow I chose to evolve myself and see how I could communicate with my mind, heart, body, spirit, so that I could stay young and stay beautiful and continue to let the energy of that express itself through my cells, which is pretty deep conversation, but you know, I was told to get on here and just share some things. So this is what I wanted to share. And I'm curious if anyone else resonates with this, and if any of you have been through serious tragedy or serious trauma, and I know that it can be really hard to let it go. One thing I've learned is I could show photos of myself from when I had a inflammatory chronic illness that they said was incurable. I remember not knowing if I could ever change the way I felt about my body and if I could ever get out of my old story, but I believe we can. It's just a matter of choosing and choosing and choosing, especially when we're not necessarily empowered growing up to believe in ourselves in that way. So I believe in forever youth and imprinting our bodies with that belief. And if you do too, as strange of a thing it is to talk about, please let me know. And I hope you like the song Forever 21, and I hope it lights up your day.